Hello everybody, today we're going to finally review The Flash, and I say finally because I cannot believe this movie actually came out. Like, the entire production around this film has been such a roller coaster, I don't even know where to begin with, like, especially with, the production has had from like 2004, I think, like they've been trying to make a Flash movie until the DCU came out, so it was like, they were gonna, I think, release it in 2018. They got it delayed to 2019, like the pandemic happened, then Ezra Miller stuff happened, and it was just kind of like this weird roller coaster. So I just like, it's unreal that we actually finally get an official Flash movie. But anyways, let's get into the review itself, because I think this movie is also roller coasting in itself. I just think it's just such a strange movie, and today I'm gonna explain why, like my entire thought process while watching The Flash. So let's start with the plot and the context. So the movie itself is a story centered around Barry Allen, who is played by Ezra Miller. And I'm not going to touch on the whole controversy thing. I think that's a topic for another day. But I just wanted to say that I don't think Ezra Miller as Flash is that good of a character as a portrayal. I think he was just like included as part of like the Snyderverse. Like, I think, like, for example, Zack Snyder was casting like all these unconventional actors in like really strange roles. For example, the one that comes to mind is like Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, which is completely out of place. I thought that portrayal of like Lex Luthor kind of gave me the same vibes as this kind of Flash.
It's cherry.
And it kind of shows throughout the movie. Like, I don't dislike Ezra Miller as an actor. I think in other movies they are very good. For example, in The Perks of Being a Wallflower. But I just feel his performance was too chaotic in the movie. But anyways, I feel you get kind of a lot with that, and that factors a lot into like some of the plot elements, especially like in the beginning where they show him like, being like calorie deficient. He has to eat constantly in order to have his Flash powers. I thought that was interesting, but also like the whole chaotic thing kind of like pales, for example, like Grant Gustin's portrayal in the Flash TV show. I think they're very two different Flashes, but definitely Ezra Miller is not. Feels out of place at times, but it doesn't like take away from the rest of the movie. So the movie itself centers around him. It's a continuation of the DCEU, so you kind of get like scenes at the beginning with the Justice League, and I kind of like, it continues that streak of DC kind of like turning all of their movies into a sort of Justice League 1.5. For example, you get to see like glimpses of them in action. For example, like Diana, I mean, yeah, like Wonder Woman's cameos in like the Shazam movie, the last one. But you don't really get to see him like that much at the center focus, so it kind of feels strange, especially since they're gonna reboot the DCU universe, and it just like feels weird. Like, this is just DC's way of saying like, I don't know, we're gonna end everything, and these actors already filmed their parts, so like, here you go, but it's not really gonna tie into anything. We're not gonna see Justice League 2 like with them in action, so it kind of like, it feels like what is the point, especially with Aquaman 2 coming out. And that's something like ties into my overall feelings in the movie, so I don't want to complain too much about the DC universe in this video. I think that's a topic for another day, but I just want to like mention that because it's important for my feelings while watching The Flash. And the movie follows like the standard Flashpoint story that we've seen in a couple Flash media over the last couple years. And in this movie, Flash discovers a way to time travel in order to save his mom. And that's kind of his objective. He wants to go back in time, save his mother, go back to the present and live happy with his mother. But in the end, he starts noticing that that's not possible. He ends up making a mess with the multiverse, with time travel, and he has to fix it in a way like, for example, like Back to the Future, which actually is mentioned in this movie, and that was funny. But it follows a kind of like standard plot. I thought the plot was actually good, but considering all the things they threw into the movie, I felt like it would have been better under different circumstances. Maybe if they included in the DCU, or if the movie's production wasn't such a mess. Because I'll explain why like a lot of things in this movie didn't work for me. First of all, the movie tries way too hard to copy Marvel. I think ever since the beginning, DC just kind of like tried to copy Marvel's success like step by step. And what I mean is like for example, the plan they're trying to make, like how they rushed into the first Justice League movie, and then the rest of the movies just have like jokes thrown everywhere. Like, for example, like the Shazam has a lot of jokes, but this one kind of like elevates it to another level. And I'm not even kidding. There's like a joke every few seconds in this movie, like for real. Like every few seconds, they're just like trying too hard to be like Guardians of the Galaxy or something. Except that in Guardians, it actually does work. And here, the jokes work half of the time. Like, I'm gonna say every single joke was bad. Like a few times where, Ezra Miller's being like funny, like he delivers some kind of one-liners. Even Batman, like Ben Affleck Batman and Michael Keaton Batman have some lines that work. But a lot of the time it's just like, oh god, it's so cringe. They're just trying to copy Marvel, with all the wacky stuff. And that's something like I didn't like because of how try hard the movie looked. But in the end, if that's your thing, I'm not gonna judge. But the next thing is what I disliked the most about the movie, and we'll get into that in a minute. So The Flash is a movie that is known all over for its cameos, and that's something they included very heavily in their marketing. Like, everybody knew that this movie was going to have Michael Keaton as Batman returning after decades. It was going to have a new Supergirl, so it was kind of like they try to market this movie to be like a Justice League 1.5 with new characters, like nostalgia moments. It's just, but it feels just so weird. Like they're trying to like just ham fist nostalgia into the fans, and I don't know, it just kind of struck me wrong. And don't get me wrong, I think Michael Keaton as Batman returning was good in a lot of moments. Well, in the beginning, they try to like Luke Skywalker him. He's like this, you know, the bearded guy with long hair who just like gave up on crime. He's like, no, I don't want to help. Like, there's a scene where he explains to the Ezra Millers that, oh, I'm not gonna help you, I'm gonna be retiring, and then like they change his mind, and that's like pretty much what they did with Luke Skywalker. But that is pretty quick. I gotta say, like, the scenes with them later were pretty cool, and that's something I enjoyed from this movie, like how they treated Michael Keaton in the beginning. But in the end, it just like kind of like right towards the end of the battle, like him and Supergirl, you realize that they're there just to be a plot element that like doesn't stick the landing. I feel like at that point, like towards the end, like everything they did towards the end of the movie, like the two Flashes, because there's like Ezra Miller portrays two versions of Flash, like a younger one from the alternate universe and the one who travels to that point. But in those moments, I feel like everything that built up to that moment just kind of like fell apart because of like the end multiverse scene. And I gotta say, I'm gonna spoil some things. So if you haven't watched the movie, I'm gonna get ready for some spoilers, because the ending scene is gonna be the most important one to explain why I didn't like this movie that much. So like I said before, everything just kind of like falls apart in the universe. And during the final scene, before that, the entire plot revolves around them like discovering that this is the moment from Man of Steel that General Zod arrives to Earth. And they try to stop him, and they fail over and over. So Flash, like the younger Flash, tries to like travel back in time and fix it over and over, and that's how he becomes the Dark Flash, which like Ezra Miller has to like prevent that from happening. Like the present day Flash, Barry Allen realizes that time travel is not good, just as Bruce Wayne warned him, and he tries to fix that. And in the end, he does just that. He destroys this universe, and basically, I guess Michael Keaton Batman died, Supergirl died. Everything was for nothing. Like, they try to save that universe like through the entire movie. In the end, it all destroys. And then we have one of the most bizarre sequences I've ever seen in a movie. And then when I say that DC's trying to copy Marvel too hard, I guess they just saw the success of No Way Home with the 3 Spider-Man, like the 3, you know, legacy characters, actors. And they just tried to do that, but it just like didn't work. For example, you get cameos from Christopher Reeve Superman, from the old Flash. They just like, they don't even show him fully. They're just like really weird CGI characters that doesn't make any sense. Like, they just look so ugly, so it looks so wrong, especially after everything that happened with Christopher Reeve. He had led a really difficult life, so like seeing him as a CGI puppet with no life, like literally a lifeless CGI expression, just felt so wrong. And that's something I really didn't like about the movie. I was just laughing when that scene came out. And then they also show like the unreleased Nicolas Cage Superman, which to me was just, it just looks so weird. And that's something I gotta like also mention, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people mentioned, is the CGI is just so bad. Like, it's just so terrible from like most of the scenes. Like, not like there's a scene where Flash travels through time, and you see like the previous characters in the Justice League that are like going back through time, his family, and they're just like look like PS2 characters, like PlayStation 2 from that era. Like, it just looks way worse. I'm not even kidding, it looks way worse than even Dwayne Johnson in the Scorpion King movie. It was just so bad. And there's a lot of scenes like in the normal fight scenes where it just like the CGI looks so off. And you can really tell this was an unfinished movie from everything, like the script, the characters, some of the scenes. I like, sometimes I just didn't know what was going on. Like, everything just felt like they were like throwing stuff at the wall to see what stuck. You know, there's cameos everywhere. It's just kind of like DC like giving its last breath before it dies and restarts all over. So I don't know. I just felt like it was just so weird. Like, it was I mean, it's a movie that I get why people enjoyed it. I mean, it has its moments. It's fun. But, you know, when you look at the entire DC thing, you know, you realize that, okay, they already recorded this movie, just like Shazam, just like, I guess, Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom. And they were like, okay, well, I know we're going to restart everything, but we got these movies all filmed, all written, all wrapped up, so let's just release them and see what happens. So, like, to me, it just gives me a really bad feeling. I'm pretty sad about the state of the DC universe, and I'm just really hoping that Superman Legacy fixes everything, because, my God, this universe just needs to die. You know, like the DCU with the, you know, I just felt like this is like the last ending for that universe right there. So in conclusion, I think this movie was a mess from a lot of different angles, including the pre-production, you know, the production, the writing. It just gave me really bad feelings, especially with the cameos they try to like include. I gotta say that, yeah, like I said before, the Batman scenes were pretty cool. I thought his return as Michael Keaton, like I liked it, but I guess I expected more. I don't know how to describe this movie. It's just like I had so many mixed feelings. So as a final score, I'm gonna give it a 48 out of 100. And that's only because there were a lot of fun scenes. So if that's your, yeah, that's your jam, if you like individual stories that kind of want to connect to other movies, but not really because it's, you know, it's not going to lead into anything with the DC universe. I guess if that's your thing, if you like cameos all over the place, if you're into that stuff, then fine, enjoy it. But for me, it's just like it just all just felt so meaningless. And that's the final thought I'm gonna give to The Flash. But anyways, I guess this is my most critical review until now. But if you like the movie, just enjoy it. If you like this review, check out my other videos. I mostly review stuff that I like, but I was really curious about this movie. Like, I kind of knew it was going to be messy, but when I left the theater, I was just like, okay, I never expected to see all this stuff, especially like all the stuff that just threw to the wall. But anyways, I think I ranted about The Flash way too much. So anyways, those are my final thoughts, and I guess that's it. So see you guys later, and have a great day.